Welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, a series of conversations with CXOs and business leaders over chai or coffee, if that's your preference, brought to you by ETH. The urgency and pressure on business leaders as they navigated successive waves of the COVID-19 pandemic was immense, to say the least. These business leaders had to dynamically monitor myriad ways to ensure that their respective companies stayed on course in the new normal. The incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they had time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ETH is aimed at creating a deeper connection with them by getting a glimpse into their personal and professional journey thus far, finding out what makes them tick, understand their views on life and leadership, and also get a sense of what they do to unwind and recharge when they are not in business mode. It is said that one conversation can change the direction of life forever. It is also said that there is nothing better than a cup of tea to get you going. So grab your cup of tea and join me, Ivan Rodrigues, for a very exciting cutting chai conversation. Today, it's my pleasure to host Prashant Joshi, Managing Director and Head of Consumer Banking Group at DBS Bank India. Prashant, welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories.
Many thanks, Ivan. Good to see you and great to be on this forum.
Good to have you on this forum. How are you doing today, Prashant, on a very rainy day?
I'm good. It's a pity that I have to be in office while it is raining so well.
I mean, yes.
Mumbai in rains is not such a bad place, actually.
Not at all. Not at all. Especially for those of us who've grown up here over the decades. Yeah. Okay, let's kick off this conversation, Prashant. I started off by talking and touching on COVID, and we talked about the successive waves. It's been over 2 years now. Let's hope there is no third wave. Pre-COVID to now, it has impacted you, me, and the entire world directly or indirectly. My question for you is, has your approach towards life, family, and the community changed pre-COVID to COVID? And also, as a follow-up, has your leadership style changed in any way?
Okay, interesting. This almost sounds like a AD and BC kind of comparison. Because frankly, and I would agree with you that COVID has, for a long time to come, we are going to keep talking about before COVID and after COVID. I think it's clearly made a huge difference to the way we think about our own lives. I think the first thing which is just and which always knew, but I guess we never experienced it, and unfortunately, like most other people, all of us have either seen someone suffer who is very close to us, or unfortunately even lost someone who is very close to us, right?
Right.
And this time around, no one has been an exception. So clearly, while the transience of life was always known, right? I think really one experienced it for the first time.
Yes.
That one is here today and not here tomorrow. So I think that clearly in terms of making a few decisions, just to give a simple example. So, before COVID, I had not even listed down all my investments properly in one place, almost thinking that I am immortal. And if something were to happen, magically my wife and child will figure out what needs to be done. Right. But during those days, one realized that anything can happen at any point in time, which is why I said that the transience, which we keep thinking and talking about, actually it hit home. And I actually pulled out a list and made a full list of my investments and whatever else, right? Things to do if I'm not there. And actually I named that Excel just in case. And mailed it to my family. It was weird. 2 years back, I couldn't have thought I was obviously not thinking about it. It's actually with or without COVID, one should be doing this, right? It's just a good practice to have,
True.
right? But something as simple as that. So clearly, I think that the fact that this is transient has hit home, right? That life is indeed transient, and so that's one part. In terms of leadership as well, I think one has become much more understanding, and I think I was always compassionate, but much more understanding and accepting,
Mm.
right? And earlier was a very hard driver, taskmaster, and we have to get this done, and therefore there's nothing in our way which can stop us, right? I think some of that has gone away,
Okay.
and it just became more humane. I think more compassionate than what I was before, personally, at least as a leader.
Right.
And also, I think I have started to listen to others more post COVID. I don't know whether it's a COVID impact or what it is, but yeah. So clearly, I said personally, the transience of it all has hit home,
Yes.
and I think professionally, how should I, if I had to put it right, I think one has just become a little more compassionate, more understanding, more
More,
listening,
more empathetic, I think.
more empathetic. Yeah, that's the right way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. What a lovely note to start this cutting chai conversation on. Let me now try and take you down memory lane, Prashant. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or later college,
Yeah.
could you let us know about any positive influences or incidents that contributed towards shaping your foundation in those formative years?
Yeah, I just recollect two specific instances, right, which I still recollect. One, uh, most of us are influenced by our parents, and
Yes.
I am yet even now influenced by my father a lot. And in my childhood, there are two things which I still remember, from him. One is he would always say, if you want to go watch a movie, I have no money for you, right? But if you want to go buy a book
Mm.
to read, come to me and demand as much as you want, right? So I think clearly that value got ingrained.
Mm.
That where do you need to spend, and for what purpose do you need to spend?
Right.
And I'm a great fan of cinema and movies, by the way.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
but
Okay.
but irrespective, but I think in terms of that value of saying what is important to you
Sure.
in life, and where do you need to deploy your, I mean, to use a management jargon, where do you need to deploy your resources? I think that lesson was very, very, very clear. And uh, and 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 like most of us, we came from not great well-to-do families, but good families. I mean, we had good childhoods, and
Sure.
good education. But clearly, I think he is, even today, is a very disciplined person, right? Be it health, be it the kind of activities that you do. So I
Mm.
think clearly the discipline, and what you should be focused on, what are the right things to do that you should be focused on. These two values clearly have stayed with me,
Right.
and therefore, in business also, right? It's about deploying resources for the right reasons.
Yes.
So that and discipline, right? These things are absolutely critical.
Right.
So these two have clearly stayed with me. But it's
Wonderful.
one very different incident as well, and which is with a complete stranger.
Okay.
And I actually, while I'm a banker now, in my college days, I used to be a radio jockey.
Ah, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And at that time, there was no FM, so there was only nice All India radio, where I used to go
Correct.
and record these programs.
Okay.
And uh, and I used to go record programs, collect my check, which was a princely sum of 720 rupees, which in those days was a great amount of money to have.
Absolutely.
And I used to do it. I mean, I did it almost for 3 years. One of the times, the lady station director, she just after the recording was over, she stopped me and said, "I want to speak with you."
Hmm.
And I said, "Okay, tell me what it is." I thought she was going to say that it's over now. I think you've done it for 3 years, good enough, so no more.
Hmm.
So she said, "I have found you as a very nice person. Twice, we couldn't accommodate you because some other recording came up, but you were just being very nice. You never complained. You came back again and recorded. So I just wanted to say thank you and that you're a good person."
Wow.
And I can't tell you, I had goosebumps when she said that, because one of the things, while I said I inherited some values and good values from my family, my father, right? One thing was very clear in the family, that no one appreciated us on our face.
Hmm.
Never.
Yes.
Even if you topped the school throughout, didn't matter,
Right.
right? No one ever said you did a good job,
Hmm.
right? And this is almost first time someone said that to me, almost a complete stranger,
Hmm.
and it puffed my chest.
Yes.
That is something which I have carried even today. So because today I say it more often to the people who work with me.
Right.
And if this incident hadn't happened, I don't think I would be that kind of a person,
Wow.
right? Yeah. So I think that these two things specifically have stayed with me.
Thank you for sharing those examples, because one was closer to home, in fact, literally at home, and
Yeah.
the other is a complete stranger, more or less, like you said. And look at it. I mean, the impact it's had on you. And I think
True.
these are lifelong impressions that are there, and have
True.
actually determined the course of your journey, both personally and professionally. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, as a follow up, let me ask you, and I think you touched upon leadership. What values are most important to you, Prashant, as a leader?
Yeah, I think it's oft repeated, but particularly because I have been in financial services, right, and now close to 30 years.
Yeah.
To me, in leadership, like most other walks of life, the most important thing is integrity.
Mm.
And we keep saying that all the time, that deliver what you promise, and don't promise what you can't deliver, right? And to me, and integrity is not just about malfeasance or any such thing, right? It's simple
Right.
thing, right? That if I told you I will call you in 1 hour's time, I need to call you back in 1 hour's time and say whatever it is.
Right.
So in simplest of things, to me, integrity is the most important thing for a leader. But equally, to me, leadership is not a privilege. I think it's a responsibility,
Right.
and understanding that is very important. Because it's a responsibility to deliver many outcomes, and that is much more important than being treated as an honor or a privilege.
Right.
So one is integrity as a value, understanding that leadership is responsibility.
Right.
And the third thing, which again maybe partly COVID, but even before that, I had this view that if you when I studied management, the overall view of leadership was of this macho man, and almost like a Superman who will charming, but still driving one hard,
Mm.
and getting that outcome in place, almost larger than life.
Right.
Yeah. I think that has changed completely, and rightly so. So as a leader, I'm very comfortable sharing my vulnerabilities with my people.
Right.
And I think whether pre-COVID or post-COVID, I think that humane side of leadership is equally important.
Right.
So I think treating leadership as a responsibility, integrity, as I said, is non-compromisable. And then
Mm.
in some fashion, they said, being open to sharing one's vulnerabilities is a trait that I would love to see across all leaders.
It's fantastic. You passed out from IIM Calcutta, if I'm not mistaken, in 1991.
93.
93, 91 to
Yeah,
93.
I went in into I am at 91. Yeah.
Right, right. And as you were talking, it took me back to my days when I passed out in from SPJ in 89. Uh, you
Oh,
did your MBA in finance, I did mine in marketing. Uh, what you touched upon, you talked about the vulnerability aspect, and it takes a lot of courage. I wish at that point in time we had subjects. I know we had organizational behavior and all that. I wish we had subjects besides the core area that we are focusing on would focus more on these aspects, because as you grow as a leader, I realized that it was not about your domain knowledge, like you said, that Superman who's going and slaying everything. It's
yeah.
not just about that. It is the softer skills, it's aspects of vulnerability that you're talking about. I wish this is coming into the curriculum at least now, because the world has changed. So
I couldn't agree more with you.
I'm sure educationists who are listening and will listen to this do take note of that, because I think that's a big thing going forward.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Okay. Let me ask you a follow up question. And you touched upon leadership, but there are a lot of young leaders who will watch this cutting chai conversation. So, what advice would you give someone? You talked about integrity, but for someone going into a leadership position for the first time, what would be your advice, Prashant?
I think I talked about responsibility as well, right? So,
Yes, you
and
did.
and I do this whenever I speak with people, when I sit with leaders and chat with them. I ask them what does leadership mean to them, and there are many answers which people provide. And responsibility is a very rare answer.
Mm,
And I'm not trying to be, when I say responsibility, it is not about feeling that, oh, I own this set of people now and I am kind of, uh, taking care of their families. That's an argument which I don't like, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a, but I think just to feel responsible for the organization, for the outcomes that we deliver, is very important as a leader. So that's number one. Number two, the realization that we can do only so much alone,
Mm,
and it's basically through collaboration that we need to deliver. And I have always felt this in India, given the fact that we have always been competing all the time, right?
right.
As you said, you were at SPJ and at IIM, we needed to compete with 30,000 people to get into 300
Absolutely.
seats. So
Absolutely.
it's the focus has always been on individual brilliance, individual contribution. And so therefore this tendency of how can I get ahead in the queue?
Mm,
And that still doesn't go away.
yeah.
Right? So I think that DNA of collaboration is not there with us.
Right.
But the fact is that if we collaborate, outcomes will be far superior. That realization also has to be there.
Right.
So to me, responsibility and the idea of collaboration is something which as leaders one has to have.
I
Otherwise, it's very difficult.
I think that's
Yeah,
fantastic advice. Like you
yeah,
said, the word, if you just break up the meaning of the word responsibility and collaboration itself, if young leaders can get their act together on these two aspects, I think they'll be fantastic leaders, because collaboration is the name of the game today.
yeah.
Absolutely. May I ask you, what is the most important risk you took along your personal or professional journey, and why did you take it, and was it worth it?
Okay, on the professional journey, actually, I can say that about 6 years back, I used to run a large, again, consumer bank with a foreign bank, and from there, I decided to move into an NBFC,
Okay.
put my own capital there, uh, joined that NBFC, and it was literally doing it bottoms up,
Mm,
right from building business from the scratch, and 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 it was clearly a risk in that sense, because I mean, the job that I was doing, I was successful at that, and I was enjoying also what I was doing, but there was always this element of can I can I try entrepreneurship in some fashion.
sure.
And I think I took that entrepreneurial plunge and built that NBFC uh, right from the scratch. So yeah, so when I went there, I didn't know how it will be.
Right.
But touchwood, I think things worked out reasonably well,
Okay.
and we took the company public, did the IPO,
Wow.
and eventually sold it to a strategic investor, and huge amount of learning over the 4 years, things which I had never ever done before.
Mm.
We bought a few businesses there. As I said, we did all the pre-work for the IPO of a firm. We managed the listing, then investor relations. There were 3 technology platforms that we implemented, acquisition, integration. I think it's almost like compressed what people would do in 10 years within a 4-year time frame.
Wow.
And I think it's a huge learning,
Okay.
absolutely worth it from a professional perspective, to have done this. And then in hindsight, now when I look back, while it appeared risky at that point in time, but doesn't look like it was that much of a risk.
Mm. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, excellent. Excellent. And thanks for sharing that with us. May I ask you, and not many people are willing to answer this, but I'm going to try and take a shot at it anyway by asking you this question. Prashant, how much of a role has luck played a factor in your life, or has it just been about your qualifications, your experience, and your hard work?
Yeah, I think the qualifications and hard work helps,
Sure.
but I would be lying if I said that luck did not play a part. And people choose to put it in different fashions.
Yeah.
I think there is one way of saying it is that I happen to be at the right place at the right time, right? And I think that did happen. The fact that I started my career in 1993 when India was liberalizing in 1991,
Mm.
right, and all the liberalization has happened after that. So that first of all, that economic environment itself was enabling new things were happening all the time.
Yes.
The new India, the telecom revolution came around in the 90s, right?
Right.
Uh, so clearly, I think whether economic environment and infrastructure, everything around it changed massively in India.
Mm.
And in a way, with the qualifications and the hard work that I did, I think that lifted all of us, and I was no exception to that.
Sure.
Yeah. And I can't even talk about the period 2001 to 2008. It was magical.
Absolutely.
Everything that one touched turned into gold, and
Absolutely.
mistakenly I thought that it was me who was who was the reason. It was not. It was easy money which central banks were pumping in. It was the environment which was great, which was helping.
Yeah.
So I think in all our successes, and my success for sure, the fact that the economic environment was so good in some of those periods clearly helped. The path what India adopted after 91 clearly helped. So
Mm.
in a way, I was lucky to be born and working in this era. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So can't underemphasize that. It'll be
Yeah.
dishonest to say that it was only qualifications and hard work.
Right. Right.
Absolutely not.
When you said that, I am guilty of actually thinking that a lot of things that I did at that point in time was because of me, and nobody else would have been able to do it. Now, with experience and with this gray hair, when I look back, I know for sure that there were so many people who could have done much better than I did. So
Yeah.
that comes
Yeah.
with,
I agree.
with a little bit of wisdom and experience. So
Yeah.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Second last question in this segment. In your opinion, how important is it for organizations to recognize the importance of the mental and physical well-being of employees? And are organizations devoting enough time, in your opinion? And also, are they devoting enough resources for the same?
Yeah. I think And clearly post-COVID, everyone has realized this even more than what it was before.
Okay.
That if employees are not in good mental space, and physically, if you are not in good shape, if mentally you are not in good place, it's going to affect our work and the quality of work, and therefore eventually the outcomes.
Mm.
I think most organizations have realized it. My fear is that as COVID recedes,
Mm.
we will relapse into our earlier era, where if you worked late, it was the in thing to do.
Mm.
And and work life balance was almost kind of made fun of,
Mm.
right? So I think most organizations, in all fairness, have the right intent. DBS, I clearly see that very clearly. All of us are committed to that. As an organization across, there are many initiatives that we are taking to make, including the future of work we have, where we are said permanently now, 2 days in a week, one can work from home.
Nice.
Uh, right? So that's only being one of the things. I don't think
Oh,
that alone ensures physical and
sure.
mental well-being. There are many other initiatives,
Sure.
but I think most organizations are going that path. But as I said, my only worry is that as COVID recedes and we get back to more normalcy, hopefully we don't go back.
Right. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
I hope there's a mindset change there. I really hope. Prashant, final question in this segment for you. How do you unwind? Any interests, hobbies, or activities that you indulge in? And are there any items on your bucket list that are yet to be fulfilled?
Wow. No, I think I have many interests actually.
Okay.
So I'm a very avid reader, particularly
Movie go.
Marathi literature. Movie goer, you're
Yeah.
right. But the two things which I really love doing, one is I'm also a marathoner. So
Wow.
I, I took up running pretty late, but I really enjoy it. I find it almost meditative.
Mm.
And so when I go on my long runs, I really enjoy it. And for whatever, I will never miss those, whatever may happen. So that really helps me. And the second thing is, I love Hindustani classical music.
Wow. Wonderful.
Uh, I'm also trained in Hindustani classical music. In fact, it's my regret that when I talked about when I joining the NBFC for becoming an entrepreneur, I actually had to leave learning because I couldn't find time. But I love Hindustani classical music, and there's very rarely a day where I wouldn't listen to at least some of it.
Okay.
So that clearly helps me. And one thing which I still need to do, I have promised myself that I will watch all the Grand Slam four Grand Slam finals live in the stadium.
Wow. Okay.
I'm yet to do even one.
Okay.
So that clearly is something which is still pending, but I'm hoping to accomplish it sooner than later.
Wonderful. Wonderful. May your wish be fulfilled very, very soon. Wonderful.
Thank you, Ivan.
Uh, I'm just having such a wonderful time. I know we could go on, but what I'd like to do is switch gears a little bit and move to another segment in this cutting chai conversation called the one word, one line answer. So, Prashant, what I'm going to do is ask you a set of questions where you need to answer in one word or one line. Okay, if it's a line, I'll specify. Very simple stuff. The idea is to get to know you better beyond you being the managing director and head of consumer banking group at DBS Bank India. So it's a fun round. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, great. What's your favorite meal or dish if you were to choose one?
Pad Thai.
What?
Thai cuisine.
Pad Thai. Yeah. Okay, great. All-time favorite ice cream flavor?
Mango.
Okay. Which business leader do you look up to or admire the most?
Indra Nui.
Nice. What was your favorite subject in school?
Mathematics.
Okay. Let me then ask you, what was the subject you disliked the most in school?
Chemistry.
Really? Chemistry? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you would say history or civics or geography or something like that. Okay. I think you've answered, and you might say, I want to choose both the options, but let me ask you, kindly choose one, exercise
Yeah.
or diet.
Exercise.
Okay. Work hard or play hard.
Work hard.
Nuclear family or joint family.
Joint family. I live in one.
Okay. Okay. Uh, misal pav or pav bhaji.
Oh, that's a tough one. Misal pav.
Misal pav, yeah, yeah. Then let me ask you another one. Let's see if this is tougher. Sabudana vada or
Yeah.
aloo cha vada.
Aloo cha vada.
Aloo cha vada.
Any day.
Okay. Uh, painful truth or comforting lie.
Painful truth.
3 people who are closest to you, Prashant.
My father, my son,
Okay.
and my brother.
Okay. Describe your journey thus far in 3 words.
I think one word is enough for that, which is gratitude.
Very nice. Very nice. Let me ask you, if you were to be stuck in a room for 24 hours, whom would you choose to be stuck with? Ratan Tata, Amir Khan, Steffi Graf, or Mark Zuckerberg? Choose one.
Steffi, I've been a big fan of hers.
The reason why, in fact, it's actually not in my options to ask you, but since you talked about Grand Slams, I replaced one with the other. And I said, let me put Steffi Graf there and see which one Prashant goes for. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Very clear choice.
Yeah.
Kindly complete the sentence. I am most happy when dash, dash, dash.
When I can sing a bandish flawlessly.
Wonderful. Behind every great man, there is dash, dash, dash.
Big force of luck.
Okay. Okay. You're very, very humble, Prashant. Nobody can stop me from dash, dash, dash.
Being myself.
Wonderful. I think that we all can. This is the last question. I think that we all can.
Listen to others more.
You know, Prashant, over the last 25, 30 minutes, I just, you know, I'm lost for words, literally, but what a wonderful cutting chai conversation this was. You know, I'm reminded, having listened to you, of this quote by Jack Welch, where he says, before you're a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. And you are the epitome of this quote for me. There's another quote that I'm reminded of. I don't know who's said it, but it says that you learn more from failure than from success. Don't let it stop you, because failure builds character. And through some of the things that you shared, you've gone through this journey. And the final quote, again, based on your responses, was this quote, which says that success isn't just about what you accomplish in your life. It is about what you inspire others to do. And once again, you know, you are an epitome of that, Prashant. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Prashant Joshi, Managing Director and Head of Consumer Banking Group at DBS Bank India. I had a wonderful time chatting with you, and I'll repeat that again. We wish you, Prashant, your family, and the DBS Bank India the very best going forward.
Thank you, Ivan. You have been very generous. Thank you.